A couple of years ago, I got involved in this online community. It was somewhat of a His Dark Materials fan group with a spin. If you aren't familiar with the series, it's a children's fantasy trilogy written by British atheist Philip Pullman. He thinks of the books as a secular response to the Narnia books, if you will. Anyway, in this alternate story world, people have animal souls that live outside their bodies called demons that can change shape in children and eventually settle during puberty. Once these demons settle, they can no longer change, but the animal represents something about the person and his personality. Now, this does get kind of weird, so bear with me. In this second book, the story introduces the idea of our world, and how demons might exist here as well, just inside our bodies like the classical interpretation of the soul we're all familiar with. There was a LiveJournal community years back that started taking interest in demons and wondering if they could figure out what demons they would have if they lived in the story world. The community has since expanded. It has its own website, and it has a very active and tight-knit community, with a hell of a lot of drama to boot. Anyway, these people like to think that they have demons. They give them names and personalities, and imagine them following around in their normal life and talking to them. Admittedly, I was once part of this community, and while I never really believed their claims of real-life demons, I found the philosophy fairly useful. Yes, I figured out what animals suited my personality best, and yeah, I did invent an imaginary friend to act as a demon. Oh my god, someone over the age of 11 claimed to have an imaginary friend? Never heard that one before. And it gets even better. Those who call demons imaginary friends are actually a shunned minority on this website. Wow, guys. Anyway, as one would expect, there was a lot of philosophical discussion going on about the nature of personalities and how literal people were willing to take demonism, as it was called. Some people, usually newcomers, thoroughly believed that their demons were their soul, and that they could talk to it. Usually older members silently accepted the imaginary friend view, although they insisted on using a different word for it, a construct. So people brought their ideas of what the soul was, whether their demon was their soul or a part of it, or simply an imaginary friend. Ooh, I'm sorry, I mean construct. So how is this all relevant? When I joined this community, I was at the height of my Christian phase. I believed that my demon was a personal representation of the Holy Spirit in my own life. Whatever. One of the girls on this website, a college student from Australia, wrote that she didn't believe in souls. She didn't think she had a soul, and that this whole demonism thing was just for fun. And this blew my mind. The idea of a soul not existing was completely and utterly foreign to me. You know, this thought had never even occurred to me. I'd gone my entire life believing I had a soul. You know, that's just something taken for granted. And after that, I started to re-examine what the soul actually was. I knew that the experiment that showed the soul weighed so many grams, was bogus. I accepted that fact, and I accepted the fact that all of my thinking is done with my brain through biochemical means, as well as all of my emotions. So where did the soul fit in? And what is the point of a soul? If it's to live forever, great, but that means that souls have to come from somewhere, because, the laws of conservation of mass and energy can't be violated if we're going to involve souls within our physical bodies. We are physical, we're bound by physical laws. Orson Scott Card suggested in his Ender's Game series, if you're familiar with that souls come from some sort of outside dimension, and that they're called into bodies. But that's just placing the problem a little further away in the next dimension over. And after much thought and personal reflection, I didn't see where the soul concept could possibly work, and I discarded the idea. I was a God of the gaps kind of person, and one more gap had been filled.